Steven Universe and all associated images are property of Cartoon Network, Rebecca Sugar, and any and all other respective owners. I don't know them all. All footage in this video has been used for the purpose of critique parody under fair use. Please support the official release. Today's topic is one that I've wanted to talk about for quite some time. We got a little bit more evidence pertaining to this topic here and there occasionally once it was revealed that Garnet was in fact a fusion, and it seemed a topic ripe with possibilities. However, I'm glad that I put off talking about this subject for as long as I did because I think we just got one of the most important episodes pertaining to this topic in the last Steven Bomb in the form of the episode The Answer. That topic is, of course, how Homeworld views fusion. Specifically cross-gem fusion, since they don't seem to have a specific issue with same-gem fusion and even utilize it as a tool. Now, keep in mind that this is a topic that a lot of people are very interested in and tend to do their research on, so I wouldn't be surprised if you already know or have already worked out a lot of the things I'm about to talk about here today. But I do want to talk about this and get out there what exactly it is that I believe regarding this subject, as these are the assumptions I'm going to go by in my videos going forward until evidence to the contrary is presented, if it ever actually is. This is going to be structured a little differently than some of my theories. I'm going to run through what I think are the three most important moments in the history of the show so far pertaining to this topic and analyze them a bit, and then give a conclusion regarding how I think Homeworld views fusion specifically based on those instances. We get our first glimpse at how Homeworld might view fusion through the character of Jasper in The Return and Jailbreak. In The Return, Jasper gestures to Garnet and calls her a shameless display. And then on Peridot's handship in Jailbreak, when the recently refused Garnet confronts Jasper, Jasper openly questions why Ruby and Sapphire would refuse. She doesn't understand because from her perspective, fusion is just a tactic to make weak gems stronger and should only be used by gems who already fight anyway. Otherwise, you're relying on someone else's power rather than your own, and that's just something that Jasper can't comprehend. She seems to be very biased towards this form of cross-gem fusion, but I don't think she would be opposed to fusing with another Jasper. Now, I'll talk about this a little more later, but let's just consider for the moment that that is true, that Jasper would fuse with another Jasper were one present. Remember that Jasper was active during the war. She mentions in The Return that she was aware of Rose's tactics and that she even witnessed them. If it's true, as many fans have believed for quite a long time, that cross-gem fusions fought with Rose during the war, then Jasper would have witnessed the power of cross-gem fusions before personally. This is substantiated by the fact that she knew how to and was willing to fuse with Lapis Lazuli at the end of Jailbreak. This makes Jasper something of a hypocrite, as when she was placed in a desperate situation, she went against what seemed to be her own personal code and fused with a different type of gem. But Jasper is also a warrior. She is going to seek out opportunities for victory, even if those opportunities may not make sense based upon her personal reservations. I mean, that's almost the entire reason that our military has nuclear weapons. We may not believe that it's right to use them, but we also believe that we might have to someday. I feel like that's the way that Jasper views fusion personally, but I also think a significant portion of her bias comes from propaganda put in place by the Diamonds. Again, we'll get to this in just a moment, but for the moment, let's just assume that this is true, that the Diamonds has taught her, has indoctrinated her to look down upon cross-gem fusions as something unnatural. But, regardless of what people used to think, that Jasper was put here to reflect Homeworld's views on fusions overall, I believe that these are just Jasper's personal views on fusion, and nothing more, that they're based in part on what Homeworld has taught her about fusion, but that she has, for the most part, compiled this view on fusion herself for herself. And I think that because we actually get an episode which I think focuses much more definitively on Homeworld's view of fusion overall, very soon after this one in the form of Keeping It Together. This is the first episode where, through the context of the show, we are able to deduce that Homeworld, as a whole, did not know about cross-gem fusion until Rose's rebellion. As we learn here that Homeworld, at some point during the war, after the rebellion developed into all-out war, began experimenting trying to create their own version of cross-gem fusion, and that for whatever reason, as we learn later on from Peridot, those experiments into cross-gem fusion evolved into the cluster experiments, a series of experiments meant to design a giant gem which could be planted inside of a planet and then destroy the planet when it emerged. Putting aside all of the logistical details and focusing just on the theming here, This seems to suggest that the citizens of Homeworld as a whole, look at cross-gem fusion as something monstrous, as something that should not exist. And I think this is confirmed in the final episode that we're going to be looking at today, The Answer, where we get to witness the first time Ruby fused with Sapphire. We learn that this occurred during an attack by the rebel Crystal Gems, Rose Quartz, and Pearl on the court of Blue Diamond. None of the other admittedly very intriguing details of the episode are important here, so I'm just not going to talk about them. What is important here is the reaction of the other gems present after Ruby and Sapphire fuse and then subsequently defuse. They are called things such as abomination by the general population of aristocratic gems within Blue Diamond's court. And Garnet, who is conveying this story to us through her own point of view, and who is half made up of Sapphire, an aristocratic Blue Diamond gem, claims that no one had ever seen a fusion between two gems of different types before. But while I think that she is definitely speaking for the aristocracy and the lower class both, in this instance, I don't know that her statement is technically true, because there is one caste of gem that she simply cannot be speaking for, and that's the diamonds themselves. Look at the way that Blue Diamond reacts here. Where the other gems are surprised and shocked, Blue Diamond skips those reactions and skips right to being very angry. She makes the snap decision to have Ruby shattered so that this fusion can never be created again. And I genuinely think that if Sapphire were not as rare and valuable as we are told already in the episode that she is, that Blue Diamond would have had her shattered as well. And I think that the reason for that is pretty obvious. We don't know exactly how old the Gempire actually is, but we do know that they control many, many planets. We don't have a specific number yet, but it seems to be more than just a few. And considering how long it takes to grow new gems, somewhere around 500 years, we can assume that their society is quite old. Are you telling me that no two gems of different types who were working together ever accidentally fused in a manner similar to Ruby and Sapphire here? I mean, yeah, it's possible, but I don't think so. I think that someone somewhere must have discovered this form of fusion before, and that the diamonds worked to suppress it. Think about it for a second. The way that the diamonds maintain their authority is by creating gems to do specific jobs and then inserting them into those roles for the remainder of their existence. Based on what we've seen of Pearl, of the fact that she seems to almost compulsively carry out actions that she would have as a servant slave on Homeworld, we can see that each gem's purpose is programmed into them at birth. Combined with the strict caste system that we have seen evidence of in episodes dealing with Homeworld, and I think it's safe to say that no typical gem would question the diamond's authority unless something substantial happened to change their worldview. Fusing with another gem of another type and becoming a brand new type of gem with no purpose in Homeworld's caste society would be exactly the kind of thing that would start them questioning the authority of their leaders. We know from Ruby's statements in this episode that same gem fusions still see themselves as the exact same gem, i.e. a same gem fusion of multiple rubies still just see themselves as a ruby when fused together. But this is not true of a cross-gem fusion like Garnet. Garnet is literally something entirely new, which is incidentally why I think that Jasper would have been okay fusing with another Jasper. We already see that she is open to the idea of fusing because she does eventually break down and fuse with Lapis. And in the case of fusing with another Jasper, from her perspective, the power that she used as that Jasper fusion would still have been her own rather than someone else's. And considering how powerful cross-gem fusions are shown to be, cross-gem fusions would also be a physical threat to the diamonds. It is for that reason that I think that the diamonds knew about cross-gem fusion long before Garnet was originally formed, but that they suppressed all evidence of it and spread propaganda against cross-gem fusion throughout Homeworld once cross-gem fusion was made public in the Garnet incident and the subsequent war with Rose Quartz and her crystal gems. I think that's why Jasper views cross-gem fusions such as Garnet as shameless displays, and why Peridot is so dismissive of Garnet during the early stages in their relationship. I think the diamonds are afraid of cross-gem fusion because I think cross-gem fusion might be the key to teaching the average Homeworld gem what it means to be a free individual. And that's something that the diamonds just can't have happen. But guys, what do you think of this theory? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later. Do you have a theory idea or merely a musing about the show that you'd like me to discuss? You can head on over to my Facebook page and send me a message detailing your ideas, and if I find them interesting enough, I'll be sure to respond. Or you can head on over to my Tumblr page and send me an ask. If it's not something that I've covered before, I'll be sure to answer. If you are on Facebook or Tumblr, I also recommend that you like and or follow me there as well to keep up to date on all of my content as well as any supplementary content that I might post on either of those sites. And if you know anyone on Facebook or Tumblr who might find my content interesting, please share it with them. I'd really appreciate it.